Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
What's up, everybody? Good morning on this Sunday. Coffee and donuts. Here with some coffee and partially watching the U.S. hockey game. I got it on the bottom of the screen here, and a friend of mine told me, hey, you got to come out to the bar and watch the game live, like at a bar. And I was like, no, I got my live stream. I've got to be dedicated. Someone please tell Tyler that I'm dedicated. And so I'm here. I've got it streaming, and I'm not at the bar or the pub. And I'm on, and I can hear my wife watching it out in the other room, even though it's on mute on mine. So U.S. just went up 1-0. So I'll do a little bit of uh, sports talk. U.S. just went up 1-0. I think there's about 12 minutes left in the first period. I think his name's Langley. He was coming in. He was on two defenders, crossed the blue line with a cheeky kind of chip up that kind of looked like he was going to just dump it into the offensive zone, but Boldy, and he chipped it up over the defender's sticks, but it wasn't going very far. And then he kind of batted it back down, or he kind of tapped it again and kept it going, and sort of got a breakaway with defenders on him into the keeper Bennington, and Bennington moved over to his left instead of going 5-hole. He kind of stretched it around his outside pad and scored a goal. It was freaking amazing. So cool to watch. I was sitting in the living room actually watching that. So cheers all again. I will take a sip of coffee and slow it down just a little bit. Sorry, correct myself. U.S. is up 1-0 with 8 minutes left in the first period. But Canada is dominating the shots, even though U.S. is putting stuff in the goal area. Just hoping to get something in there. So excited for the United States, especially coming off of the Four Nations tournament last year that they had during the All-Star break of the NHL season. U.S. and Canada really went at it. Obviously, a lot of stuff that's been seen on social media about the fights in the first game, which was part of the round robin section of the tournament. They got in 3 fights in the first minute, which was awesome. But then, as a Panthers fan, Matthew Tkachuk got hurt during the tournament, and he was pretty much out for the remainder of that season. They stapled him back together somehow for the playoffs. We won the Stanley Cup, but then he was pretty much out for the first couple months of this current season. And, he really kind of worked hard with an eye on getting back for the Olympics for this. Not really yes, I'm a fan of having the NHL players play in the Olympics, but as an NHL fan, I don't really want them playing in the Olympics because there's a potential for them to get hurt. They're tired. They come back, whereas the players that didn't get to go to the Olympics are have a little bit of a respite or a break, and they come back a little healthier. Whereas these guys, which are all your all-stars, granted, it's all your all-stars, they're all, a little extra tired. So just being selfish with that, which is fine to be as a sports fan, I think. So yeah, anyways, that's going on right there. Pretty cool. Which is probably where everybody is that's normally watching the show. They're probably all watching this match or this game. I'm sitting here using soccer conversation. My coffee this morning is brought to you by my sister-in-law, Beatrice. She was down in El Salvador, and Lupe and I kind of put in an order. And because when Lupe and I went to El Salvador last year, we had this coffee that, I don't know, to me, I can barely taste the difference in coffees. But she was like, oh, this is really good. This is really good. And we had taken a picture of the bag that it came in, and neglected to find more of it while we were there. But anytime her family's gone down recently, she said, "Hey, see if you can find this." So her sister was just down there, and she, asked her, and she brought some back for us. So it's actually like a bolder roast than we normally drink. We normally drink like a medium, so it's a bolder flavor, but it's good. And we got some Salvadorian coffee. We when we were down there last year, it was last year, I think, pretty sure, we toured a coffee plantation, which was pretty cool. I like to do bourbon distilleries, whiskey stuff, and so it had similarities, with the process and what they do when they're working the coffee beans and drying them and all that kind of prep for the coffee. And the cool thing was is the all the coffee. What's up, Squealer? How's it going? Good morning. And all there was an area that we were in that was part of the distribution, and so the big like burlap sacks that all the coffee beans get put into, they're getting painted with different logos for different countries. So we were seeing this coffee that comes from El Salvador that was being shipped out to Korea, to Saudi Arabia, to there was like a bag with like a San Francisco based company, all that kind of stuff. So they were all this company obviously sells and distributes out to multiple different countries, companies. Like, who really knows? You could be drinking it at Dunkin' Donuts. But so that's one of the things that I'm trying to find out from the like trying to look up the information on this company. But usually, if someone like Starbucks gets their coffee from this company, they don't necessarily talk about their distributors, because like what I'm trying to do. A lot of people are looking to go straight to the source instead of like paying the upcharge that Starbucks is going to charge or Dunkin' Donuts is going to charge to get that ground coffee. Be like, yo, the coffee in that bag is from this Salvadorian company, so I might as well. It's not like Dunkin' did anything different. They just got a big sack from the coffee plantation company, and put it into their aluminum foil bags and then labeled it and throw it on their shelves. So all of us are sitting here looking for the originator of that string. So they're probably protective about it and they don't really talk about it. So we'll see. Otherwise, I'm going to drink coffee one way or the other. So there you have it. Coming up, just update on the game. 4.5 minutes left. US up still 1-0. And thanks everybody else for watching. I see you guys are watching. But so there's a chat that I was just in, sharing my screen and stuff like that. There's a chat for Counterculture Inc. It's on Discord. Discord's a kind of a chat app that also has streaming capabilities for gaming. It's big in the gaming community. So Counterculture, through Jimmy and through like a whole bunch of the crew, not necessarily even the podcasters, but fans. These guys have created a pretty cool little community in the Discord. I created a Discord for Donut Shop, but I never, it's got 6 people in it, and it never really kind of took off. But it's, the way I did it was it's more just a chat room, something to talk about, a place to put some announcements and stuff. A little different than like a website. So, but in the Discord for Counterculture, it's pretty cool. They've got all kinds of stuff. I sort of suggested the other day or yesterday, I think, a cooking channel in there. So ask and you shall receive. There's a cooking channel in there now, and because I'm in another one for one of my everyday carry groups, and they do that. There's a sharing a food kind of cooking channel. The other one that I'm in, there's a workout, a place to kind of share your workouts or what you're doing and stuff. And it's just sort of creates that community and that motivation between other people. sort of lets you know you're on the right track, and then maybe motivates some other people to get out there and do some stuff like work out or cook, or just share their food, sharing community stuff. So there we have that. This week was a super busy week. I I recorded 3 episodes, which is nice because then it kind of stacks them up, and I've got them already edited, ready to go. There's, the audio side sitting on Megaphone, the YouTube videos sitting there ready to go. They're all scheduled out. So this week I have coming up on Tuesday's drop, I have Jody Rand, which she was a coach at F45, the place that I go work out. I had met her when I started working out there. She's kind of crazy looking. She's got like piercings all over her face. You'll see in the episode, and I cut a reel for it. But super nice, a good, motivator, cheerleader sort of while we were working out, and she always, kept it cool and chill. Wasn't too psycho workout. So she was cool. And so she's kind of on her own now. She works at LA Fitness as a trainer there. And she's also kind of building her own personal training company as herself. So we talked about all that kind of stuff on the episode. So if you're down with that and you're into that kind of stuff, check it out and see what's going on and find out why, she kind of gets into why she did her piercings on her face, and then tells a story about how she does them herself, which is additionally pretty crazy to me. But yeah, so check out the episode. And then I recorded another one with a friend of mine, Jesse Gossman. We were in elementary school together, middle school, high school. We did JROTC together. We used to, we didn't run together thick as thieves, but we were kind of in the same group of people. And he even reminded me, we played paintball together. We had a big crew that used to play paintball in high school, and it was like the JROTC guys versus the Publix crew. So all the guys from Publix, our grocery store, had paintball guns and were paintball players. And so we would always meet up on Saturdays and play for freaking 4 or 5 hours. And JROTC guys all there, pretending like we were in the military and stuff, LARPing or whatever you want to call it. So it was a good thing, or it was good times. And of course I graduated in 2000. Jesse was a year behind me and graduated in 01. So what time it was for that. So he did the old National Guard after his junior year, basic, and so he was in the Guard, and he post 9/11 got ready for going to war, or going to Iraq, and he was in Iraq. Share some stories about that, some interesting insights. I'm working on a reel that kind of blew my mind. I'm excited about that one. I'm real excited about the podcast anyways. I obviously called our boy Jimmy and, wanted to talk to him about it right after the podcast. And, so it was a really cool podcast. And then he became a police officer and a detective, specializing in cryptocurrency and fraud. So he's got some cool stories. So that's another good podcast. And then I recorded one through StreamYard with some guys that I was on their episode. You can see me sharing reels about it now on Instagram. When I was on their podcast, they're called it's called the Suck It Up Man podcast. They are professional poker players. And then they talk a lot about mental health in general, like for men, mental health based around poker. And you can imagine being like a professional gambler, your mental health probably goes up and down. So we talked about all that kind of stuff. And then I gave them some insight into first responder mental health, law enforcement, and that stuff on their podcast. So those reels, they started producing them like a week after, and then finally were like collaborating with me on them so that I could share them and get some more eyes, because they're a smaller podcast. And then so they reciprocated and came on mine, and I did a bit of an interview. I did a full interview, not really a bit of an interview. I did an interview and talked to them about professional poker and like where they got their start, kind of like what they do, what the life of a professional poker player is. Because for me, that's a little weird. I did the generic American, you know, go to college, graduate college, start a job with a pension, complete the job with a pension, retire, all that kind of stuff. Like I did the atypical thing, and in my opinion, going out and sort of gambling your money and using that to make your money is crazy. But such is the life, and everybody can do it, or people can do it. It's not made up for everybody. And as they say in the show, there's only a small percentage of professional gamblers that are professional poker players that are truly profitable. You know, so that's a cool episode. So that one's going to come out. So it's like boom, boom, boom. Coming. I got those 3 episodes, and then technically I've got seven scheduled out. So I'm doing real well. I'm proud of myself. I'm excited. This is a big deal for those of you that don't know the podcast world. So it feels almost like it was drying up over the last couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden everybody just really started getting back to me. So I'm stoked. This week I'm going up to actually Monday, tomorrow, which I've got to prep for today. I am recording for Michael Morgan, one of the podcasts in the network, Resilient Warrior Nation. He's recording with Jeff Gum. I've already recorded for him one other time where he did a podcast with Jeff at Jeff's home gym. Jeff is a former Navy SEAL, and owns a clothing company and all that stuff. So Jeff's pretty cool, good talk. It's well spoken. End of the first period for hockey update. End of the first period. United States is still up 1-0. They are going into the intermission. So we're recording 2 different podcasts. This is going to be this is an interesting thing for me, growth for me, which I'm excited to do. The one style is the style that I'm used to, the normal 3 to 4 camera, lock off on tripods, record to an SD card, edit later. That's how I do my podcasts that aren't on StreamYard. Then the other way we're filming it is Mike wants to work out at a gym, and hopefully he's done the background work in the with the gym to make sure he's got permission to do it. But he wants to work out with Jeff and have a whole nother conversation. So like a whole nother like secondary podcast. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm not entirely sure, but my job is the technical side. So I'm not organizing it. I'm just doing the technical side, the production. So I'm excited about that, and the techniques I'm going to use filming in a gym while they're doing activities, that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed it works out. Looking forward to that. We'll see how it goes. So that's tomorrow. So I got a full day of that. Monday, then the drop, and then Thursday. Some of you that may be watching today may see me. I'm going to drive up to Anti-Hero. I'm going to sit on the couch in the studio and sit in for the 11 a.m. Anti-Hero broadcast. So I can be in there, hang out, contribute a little bit, maybe. Who knows? And then I'm going to record an episode with Mike. I've never done a episode for Donut Shop Podcast where Copville comes on. He was crying about that. People cry sometimes, but I like to spread it out. I like to, spread it out. Mike's on a lot of podcasts, so I like to spread the wealth. So I'm doing that, and then I have another episode that I'm recording with a comedian through StreamYard. Looking forward to that one, and then I'm going to be there for night shift. And I'm gonna do a little sleepover, but yeah, so I'll be there for night shift. And so I'm going to be on 2 Anti-Hero in the morning, and then a counterculture night shift show at night. So it's that's going to be a crazy busy day. I'm kind of trying to schedule another podcast in there, just because when you go up there and you're in the studio, you got to maximize your time. If I'm just sitting on the couch s- doom scrolling through the internet, I'm not really being very productive. Um, so that's it. That's it for the week. I'm excited for that. Got a lot to do. Got a lot to do. So, what else is up, everybody? I talked to talked to Jerry Worms, good old Jerry Worms, and he's excited about the potential. I mean, I say potential just because everything's not finalized for him, but he's excited about his move to Florida. We're excited about his move to Florida, um, but you know, we'll believe it when we see it. So, but I know he's going to be there. Um, So Squealer in the comments, do I French press? No, just traditional hot coffee drip. I I've wanted to. I was looking at like a pour over style where you get for anybody listening that doesn't know what I'm talking about when I say pour over, you have like a empty carafe and then you have like the kind of a V filter. Put your coffee grounds in there, and then you have the heated water, and then you pour it over top. You know, basically what your coffee maker does for you, but a little more manual, a little more romantic, I guess. And so I did not. My wife was just kind of like, more shit for the kitchen, like really. So that was a no. And I've never really looked into French press. Um, I feel like I feel like a French press just doesn't make enough coffee for me. I do, when I'm making for Lupe and I make 8 cups in the carafe, and it's which is not 8 cups. What I drink is probably 2 cups. Like this mug is probably 2 cups worth. So we knock out 4 to 6 cups just in the breakfast time, and then I usually have about 2 cups left um, for afternoon. So I leave it sort of just in the carafe, and I reheat it, and do a probably sacrilegious reheat of already cooked coffee or already prepared coffee, and have a little afternoon session as well. Uh, do you know about paper filters absorbing oils? I don't. I don't. So yeah, I use paper fillers. So Squealer says that paper fillers, I guess, absorb oil. I've tried Turkish coffee because I've been to Turkey. Um, Turkish coffee with some Turkish delight, which are basically just like gummies. And Joe, what's up? Joe Ring loves pour over coffee. Um, but yeah, it's probably just a little, like I said, romantic versus just having your normal coffee machine. So for me, what I really want in a coffee machine is I want a um, smart coffee machine that is hooked to my Wi-Fi. That when, like like in the afternoon, when you have the urge to swing through Dunkin' or Starbucks and get a coffee in the afternoon, um, and spend money, if I already had the coffee sitting at my house in the machine and I can just go on my phone and go start and tell it to start the coffee maker and run. That way, when I get home, the coffee that I was looking to spend $6 on, I already have it ready for me at home. I know I can keep like some cold brew or some cold coffee in the fridge or whatever, but um, why not have some hot coffee ready to go? So I kind of want that machine, but I just can't rationalize. I think some of the ones that I found were like in the $300-400 range. So that's a lot of $6 Starbucks coffees in the afternoon for me to make that money up. So right now I'll just go with the push the button to start or timer. Juliet says French press is messy. I wouldn't know. And then Squealer says, messy for sure, but so good. Why is it good? I mean, it's like so a French press, for those of you that don't know, kind of a tall, skinny pitcher or coffee craft, and then there's basically just like a plunger, I think, that you kind of push down, and I don't know that I don't understand the uh, mechanics of it or why it works, why it makes coffee, but that's just kind of you've all seen it. But if you don't know exactly what he means by French press, um, and it's French, oui, oui, yeah. So, yeah, I'm just pretty average. I mean, I know my parents use a Nespresso, so little coffee pods. When I used to work in an office at my desk, I had a um, Keurig, and that's how I made my coffee. So everybody in the office kind of knew when Justin got in because you slam it shut and then and like making all this noise as it heats up. It's definitely not quiet, but so I did the pods for a while, and but at home, I just do regular drip. So the natural oils get absorbed by the paper and take away the silkiness. Okay, all right, and no homo. I wasn't going to take it that way. I got you. So, um, okay, so should I ditch the paper filters and go with sometimes they have those wire mesh ones that you have to clean out, like in the sink. The wire mesh ones may provide or allow for more of a silky uh, ness. I don't know. Um, I guess you could do that too. But yeah, I don't think that the metal mesh ones will soak. So they're just basically keeping the grounds from coming through the machine into your coffee. So perhaps I will try that and look and see if I can locate one that fits in my machine and do a little blind, not blind taste test. Um, so yeah, Joe says, I used to not care until I had a roommate that was a coffee roaster. It made me a snob. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm all about it because, like I said, I'm in the whiskey bourbon snobby community. Um, Sometimes I add butter. I have seen butter put in coffee, and I'm not against it. Folgers Black Silk, Juliet says, is awesome. Just saying. So I get my coffee. For those of you that have watched the Donut Shop podcast in the past or read my description, I get my coffee from Blackout Coffee. Um, he's a like back in 2020 when I started this podcast, I was looking for, obviously a company that was giving like kickbacks or commission based stuff, so that we could do um, some type of uh, some type of sponsorship, but through even commission or whatever, and say, hey, so this company, and they had a good rate. They were giving back, or they were giving good sponsorship dollars back, or if people bought with your code, and it was out of Florida. So I was just like looking like, all right, support local, support Florida. Obviously, they're not growing the coffee in Florida, but they're roasting it in Florida. They put pictures and videos on their Instagram. Um, they sounded like Black Rifle, but it wasn't. They're Black Out. So but so they were in Florida, like out near Fort Myers, and did their thing. And I mean, to this day, I still buy a 5 pound bag from them. And that's another thing I don't do. I don't grind it myself. I just buy a 5 pound ground bag and dish it out from there, rack biffle. And so uh, so I use them, and I used to talk at the beginning. I mentioned a few times, or I emailed a few times with the owner of the company, and was like, "Dude, like I want to get up there and take a tour of your facility, kind of learn a little bit about it. Maybe I could do some interview while walking, talking for a podcast. While you kind of give a tour. Like I figured that'd be a cool way to like kind of mix it up during the conversation of a podcast, and then I wanted to set up like where they do their roasting and do a podcast in there with that in the background, and then talk to the owner. Still still in the cards to do, which actually, if you know Florida, they used to be on Fort Myers, which is on the west coast of Florida, and 3-4 hours away from me. Um, and then now they've moved to the east coast of Florida. I think they're in Port St. Lucie or something. So that's really like an hour and a half away from me. So it's very feasible for me to do something like that. So it's something where I may reach out to them and talk to and see if I can get a hold of them, and do a podcast there and interview the owner. He's gotten very big into the right wing media space. Didn't necessarily sponsor me. They only give me like commission for sales, but they've sponsored all kinds of podcasts. Like I think what fucking Tyler's got me all fucked up with his Bongino name, Jim Bongino or whatever. Bongino's podcast, like they sponsored that. They sponsored all these like Fox News podcasters and stuff. You hear, so he was like all over that. So I so I may still reach out to them. I got more time. Swinging back through, yeah. Jay's in the chat. Jay's one of those top mods for the Discord chat for Counterculture, and Squealer says a cooking group would be cool. Well, Jay already made it. I saw it in there. So the cooking group, or what you got cooking. So I'll start posting. If you watched last week's live, I talked about the Fit Men Cook app that I use now that has great recipes, videos about the dish that you're creating that kind of goes through the steps. Like, I'm a visual learner. And then of course the recipe, it has a section, or it has a button where you can basically move all the ingredients over to a shopping list. And then if you plan out your week's meals that you're going to cook, it'll kind of combine everything into one shopping list, and you can like check off what you already have to what you need to pick up at the store. Makes it super handy for the at-home chef. And so it's cool. And some of the dishes you can create in 15 minutes. Some take 30 to 40. But yeah, I've been posting on my Instagram just sometimes, like, not step by step, but like as I'm mixing some stuff, I may do that like as a tease through my Instagram story, and then I'll post like the final dish. Just gives me something to cook or do. But I'll tell you what, Squealer says, what's my go-to dish? Yeesh. I've really only been cooking like sort of this, like, kind of from scratch. I've really only been cooking like this since January. Um, I've made some good dishes with shrimp, prawns for our friends in the UK. Some good shrimp dishes. But I kind of phoned it in the other day. I was like, I had picked a recipe for meatloaf, but I knew that I needed to go to Trader Joe's to get some sourdough bread, because they have good sourdough bread. And I bought their already prepared meatloaf, and then just frozen mashed potatoes, because it's just good. It's just, like, I love meatloaf. So that's my thing. I believe Jay says Sunday roast. So Sunday roast, probably what you're making today. What kind of football we got on the telly today, Jay? It's still intermission for the USA versus Canada hockey game. They really could have solved this whole thing if Canada just became the 51st state. But we know that's not going to happen. Cheers, everybody. Smoked meatloaf. Ooh, that sounds like it'd take a long time to make. So yeah, I haven't gotten into much, but what I'm finding is with experience, with anything, with experience that I've gained from cooking some of the stuff, I'm learning some good. Oh, you guys have shrimp too. Okay, good. I figured. So like, through cooking some of these different meals, I've learned some tips or some thoughts. I've learned some different spices that I didn't used to be like a spice adder, person to throw spice in. killing it with the black pepper, obviously, and then even red pepper, man. Oof, I'm now like a red pepper on pizza guy. Like I don't know, I just was like afraid of that kind of stuff, or just hadn't really tried it. So now I'm just getting in. I'm opening my palate a little bit to what you know the food I'm getting into, and the way to cook it, and just learning just different stuff, to making some of the sauces, um, like I had done an orange chicken a couple weeks ago, and just like you would get from a Chinese food restaurant or something like that. And so we did an orange chicken that, and the way I'd made it, or the way the recipe was set up, it was just very orange, very citrusy. The orange was very prominent. So I made some this week, and I had kind of perfected the balance, so the balance was there a little bit better, and it was bomb diggity. It was really good, and I tossed it, just like you would toss like chicken wings in barbecue sauce in the bowl. Another, like a different way to prepare it from the other recipe that I had worked off of. So it was good. So I think I checked that one off. That one's ready to go. That one I would make 4 people. Uh, Jay made a homemade turkey burger. Yeah, turkey burgers are simple, high protein, and you can just change the herbs, whatever you put in there. Turkey burger, I like to use bison a lot too. Bison's also pretty high in protein. So the bison's going. You guys have bison in England? Perhaps imported. I don't know if you guys have bison over there. But so it's, I the last time we made burger, you know whatever, like a naked burger, no bun, um threw avocado on there, and then a fried egg on top. So it was, and then had a like a sweet potato, just kind of cubed sweet potato, um that I had kind of cooked on the pan. So that was really good. uh, let's see. We sell smoked cheese, and it's in an app. Oh, cheese slaw dip. Okay, so like a dip. Okay. So so yeah, it's oh, the hockey game is back up. Intermission's over. Still 1-0 United States. And but yeah, so it's been cool. Oh, I did a we did a crab and shrimp burger. So that was cool with the food processor. Knocked down the shrimp to a paste, basically. Saved a few of them just to kind of cut them up and have the chunks available to throw into the burger, and then some lump crab meat. Mix that all together, make a nice patty, cook it up on the on the pan, and get it going. So that was good, and that was done. And then I had like a brioche bun on that. I forget what I did for a side, but those were really good. Some good spice, some Creole, Southern spice. Jay got back to me on that. What do we got here? Get rid of this comment. Jay got back. Nice. We can get some game meat, no bison or elk. Yeah. So yeah, elk is definitely a predominantly American meat, and that's what I mean. I'm not 100% familiar with bison on where they roam, but as the songs say, they roam here in America. They're where the buffalo roam. But yeah, all right, guys. Well, that's it kind of for the week. I'm gonna get back to watching this game, and then get ready for the gym at 10. Got a workout class at 10. Appreciate all you guys jumping in and engaging in the conversation. This was a fun one, talking about food and a little something different. Again, drop on Tuesday with Jody Ran, fitness trainer, and plenty more episodes to come. And as the crawl at the bottom says, donutshoppodcast.com for all your swag needs, hats, shirts, can koozies, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Carrots are fun. Good times. Yeah, no carrots. My crime scene investigator actually texted me and she said it was actually a cucumber. So Nick sort of took off on that explanation with the whole carrot thing. Maybe I gave him carrot. I don't know. Carrot, cucumber, both a phallic vegetable. So vegetable, fruit, whatever they are. So, yep, watch out for them. You never know. You never know. All right, everybody, you have a good one and take it easy.
Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.